Hello and welcome. Today's edition of the Baseball Blue Book product uh, promotion. And my name is Walter Beede, and I am joined today by someone who I have followed via social media for quite some time, and we've had some exchanges back and forth. And Peter Fadde is the owner, creator of GameSense, um, which is an eye training tool for baseball, softball, and tennis. Peter, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, you bet, Walter.
One of the things now, approximately, I think maybe 6 or 7 months ago, correct me if I'm wrong, but while you were looking for some people to maybe try out the GameSense product, I was able to connect you with Mark and Cole Lonigan from Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, and I have noticed a absolute uptick in Cole's ability pertaining to ball strike skills. He works with a broomstick, and he's become so proficient hitting lima beans that he raves about GameSense. So I definitely wanted to talk to you. It's the holiday season. We're in the training time period for baseball, and so I thought this would be a good opportunity for us to chat and learn a little bit about GameSense.
Yeah, I really appreciate that opportunity. And I appreciate you just putting it forward with, like products, because sometimes people are like, oh, well, we don't want to be sold something. Well, what we're dealing with GameSense is a method that's been used in sports science for like 40 years. And it doesn't do much good sitting out there in the science laboratory unless you can somehow deliver it to the people who are using it. So, that's where a good product comes in, especially one that's true to the science, which is we really are.
Well, what I
Um,
love about it is one of the most underworked or undertrained dynamics as it pertains to baseball and softball is the visual training. And, we get a lot of what I call gidzits and gadgets, and they're hitting and pitching and fielding and catching. Um, some of them better than others, but as it pertains to training vision, that plays a key role, not only with regard to bat to ball skills, but also with regard to sports like tennis. It really is training the eyes to focus in on the object at hand. In this particular case, baseball, softball, or tennis ball. But talk about that a little bit as far as the ease in which a potential student athlete can utilize the product, at their own time period, whether it's in their home or a school or a training facility.
yeah, and that's a big part of it is that it wants to be really easy to use. You don't have to put on a headset or anything like that. If you've got a phone, you can do it right on that. Of course, we like when you can do it on a computer screen. You get a little bit bigger screen or an iPad, and a lot of people, even at a facility, like to put it up on a TV and then kind of take swings off of that. Like Iowa baseball out there, what they do is they've got one guy running the iPad, the other one's taking swings off of a TV, off of a tee into a net. Well, they turn it sideways and look at their big monitor. So there's a lot of ways that you can do that. But the really key thing is, okay, we're separating out the action of swinging from the perception of reading the pitch. And so, like you're referencing vision, and it's kind of important to say, okay, it's like vision but separate. So you're saying, focus at the hand, and it's out of hand. What can you read from that baseball release? Here's that skinny wrist, right? Or you remember Clemens. This was years ago. I heard the Tom Verducci article. Roger Clemens, he started throwing that split finger late in his career, and he said it gives me a fat wrist breaking ball. So that says that he knows exactly what you're looking for, and he's not going to give it to you. He called it his fat wrist breaking ball because he knows that the hitter's up there looking for a skinny wrist for that ball over the top.
Well, I
So
think that's important. So, parents from maybe that not have an athletic background, one of the biggest parts of learning to hit obviously, as Peter has alluded to, is pitch recognition. So when we start throwing these terminologies around, what happens as you get older and you become a more seasoned or experienced hitter is quite often when you see the fat or big, large wrist, you know you're getting a fastball or potentially a changeup. A changeup, you'll see a thumb more prominent, and a fastball, you'll see the thumb is tucked underneath the ball. But when we're seeing a breaking ball, a curveball, sometimes a slider, we'll see the skinny side or the thin side of the wrist. And that's really, as I went through the GameSense video, I was able to notice that, and I noticed Cole was calling out pitches, and so from a hitting perspective, softball, baseball, it's very good. We call it when we're teaching hitting, and maybe you can talk to this a little bit, Peter. Hard focus versus soft focus. Soft focus, recognizing the pitchers on the mound. Hard focus is kind of going from your logo of your hat over, depending upon what hand the pitcher is, right-handed or left-handed, and going over and creating a square here and looking for that A, fat wrist, or B, skinny wrist, which would be breaking ball, fastball, or changeup. Talk to that a little bit, because you're able to implement that into the GameSense program. So student athletes that are training can kind of begin to learn how to see that more recognizably or clearer earlier.
Yeah, that's right. And that's, you can tell we're talking to a pitcher's dad here, right? I'm sure you had those conversations with Tyler about, don't give him too much.
Right.
Hide that up a little bit. And that's the whole thing, is that the way that you learn to read and we call it reading the pitch. So like Pete Rose is famous for saying, see the ball, hit the ball. I like to think of it as read the ball, hit the ball. Because it's not just a vision thing. See makes it sound like vision. And what he really means is that you are understanding things about that pitch. You see how it comes out. First of all, you've done what Ted Williams called proper thinking. You've done what you might see in that situation. If you're a college hitter and you get down in the count 0-2, 1-2, and you're right on right, and the guy's got a slider, well, you're going to see it off of the plate. But he's not going to show it to you off the plate. He's going to show you a fastball right there, thigh high, that's going to grab and move off of the plate. So you've got to, can you pick up something in there, in that release? And the sooner you can pick it up as possible. And like a really early advocate of this was a guy, Scott Steinman. He was managing in the Midwest League for the Mariners, and he's since worked for the A's and some others. Coached Corey Seager a little bit as he was coming up there in Chandler, Arizona. But he used to say, you know what? And he's talking full season A ball, professional. He was saying, if I can just get them reading fastball, not a fastball, we're 70% there. Fastball, not a fastball. It's a fastball count. You're going after a fastball. Don't chase something else. Fastball, not a fastball. 2-strike count. A guy might flip something off on you. It doesn't, you smell a fish. Your eyes smell a fish as it's coming up there. Even though it's coming up there right here, you lay off. And now, what's that pitcher think when you have not chased that one that you're supposed to chase? Now he's got to restart his whole process.
Well, it's such a chess match. And one of the things that I liked about GameSense when I was working with it a little bit, not only with Cole, but a few other people, is it actually allows you, would you swing at this pitch or not? And it's like that fraction of a second for strike or ball. High, low, is it going to be a curveball? Is it going to break into the strike zone? Is it something that's going to break away or tail away? And I really liked that dynamic, because for young hitters, in a way, and correct me if I'm wrong, in a way, this can make them more comfortable and obviously more confident as a hitter, because they're able to get repetitions in such a way that, A, we're not stressing the hands or the arms, and we're eliminating fear, because we're learning visually through the program. So I can see fastball, I can see breaking ball, but I'm not actually having to worry about getting hit by a baseball. So I'm training not only my eyes, but my brain and my body simultaneously.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I make no, being a prof, I just make notes. So, excuse me, but of what you're saying there, because really, we underestimate the fear factor. I mean, we're trying to overcome a lot of, if there's a rock coming at you, if there's something hard and fast and moving coming at you, there's everything in your brain is saying, get out of the way of that. But the way we conquer fear, and this is any kind of fear, right? The way we conquer fear is familiarity. That familiar thing is not fearful. So, we like to, the math behind this is if somebody's using the GameSense app, if you're playing 10 minutes a day, 3 days a week, that's going to add up to 10,000 pitches in a year. That's a lot of familiarity. Every one of them, you're looking at the pitch, your
Wow.
brain is getting it, and then you're getting the instant feedback. Another A's coach, he actually worked with Scott down there in the Midwest League. Now he's the A's major league hitting coach, Tommy Everidge. And when he was using it with his guys, he said, what I like about this is it forces, and that's the word he used, forces the hitter to create, and that's the word he used, the shape of the pitch in his own head. You see, and that's what we're trying to do. That's what you were talking about with that early read. Here's the ball coming out, and then you instantly create the shape of the pitch. You make your guess, fastball, ball, curve, slider, whatever it is. And then, especially if you're wrong, you hit the button for the replay. You get the instant feedback. The instant feedback is a wider view, shows you the shape of the pitch all the way in. And that's kind of the key learning moment, especially when you get it wrong. Like you'll actually hear guys, and Mark Lundgren, he actually would talk about this. He would hear Cole. He knew he was engaged when he'd hear this. He's using the thing on the phone. He'd hear, huh? Because he just got one wrong. How could you say that this pitch coming out like this is a strike? Well, of course, then he gets it wrong. He gets the replay because it's a curve that's coming right down here. And then
Well,
huh?
and I think
Oh,
that is the best dynamic of this. And we're talking about young little leaguers, and then we have Peter talking about professionals in low A and double A and so forth. So there are different levels to this program, correct? In other words, you can have it as for a youth baseball player all the way up into an advanced baseball player. Is that correct?
yeah, that's absolutely correct. So here, like I'll just show you. It's like if you were doing it on the phone, you can you get the youth one or you get the pro one, and it's the same app. And see how it's kind of locked up like that. So I'll tell you about how it's like a guided journey to take you through. But the neat thing about it is that, and we've had several pro teams that have used this, and you're actually getting the same thing. It's not like you're getting the light version as a home person. Of course, you got different pitchers.
Right. Right.
Different pitchers. We don't have anybody who's as young as I know, because a lot of young players are looking at starting at 10 or 12. Even there, I think our youngest pitcher is 13, 14. We've got some 15-year-olds there. But it's a nice, safe way to kind of play up.
Correct.
Seeing that a little bit ahead. They're all throwing from 60 feet, 6 inches. And, until then, you're just kind of working your way up, getting your timing and everything until we kind of get to the full length and serious kind of one. And so, and then guys start spinning the ball. They start doing some other things with you. But one of the things that I really like about it, Walter, and people will say, well, but you're not swinging the bat. You're just, and one of the guys I really like on Twitter. We both do Twitter. I don't. You probably
Right.
maybe you do the other ones. I'm a one trick pony. I'm an X-man, I guess. I just do Twitter, and that's it. At Dr. Fadde, try and pass on anything about when I read an article about somebody making it or not because of pitch recognition, which you see all the time. But one of the guys I really like on there is named Kyle Wagner, and
Oh yeah.
he calls his approach green light hitting, and he's a high school teacher, so he really understands teaching, and he shares from that. But he also coaches travel ball, like Benny Montgomery, right, #1 pick as an 18-year-old of the Rockies, like 2 years ago. Wagner coached him, and he has a book called Green Light Hitting, And he's really, really saying, look, and we've had interesting discussions over the years, because he'll say, look, I don't want guys being too picky, or, you know, thinking too much up there. I just want them being aggressive, have fun, hit the heck out of the ball. And it's like, fantastic. That's great. At some point, those pitchers, you know, are going to figure out how to use that against you. And if you don't start thinking about it until then, you're going to hit a wall there. A lot of guys do. It might be 16, 17, 18. So it's almost like it's better to just do this on the side. If you're 13, 14, 15, you know, be aggressive. Don't be thinking about this and entering this into your game. You just do this. And as a parent, you don't have to know anything about, you don't have to know which side of the baseball to kick. You know, all you have to do is make sure they do it regularly, because that's where I was showing you the lock things. We've now built in, and this comes from, you know, 5 years being out there in the business. And we finally got it through our thick heads that the main thing that was keeping guys from using this and kind of getting where we wanted to, as much as we wanted, was they just didn't have the direction on that, unless you got a coach looking over your shoulder. So we locked it in. You got a journey, you know, and actually that's where Cole and Mark really helped us out. And you actually sent over a bunch of other guys too to use test this new journey thing, because this is, you know, this is a big kind of risk. We're saying, hey, you're going to go in there and you're going to lock it out. You can only do it this way. But it's like a weights program. Early on in that weights program, you're going to say, this is your set. You do this lift, this lift, this lift. You rotate back. You do that lift, that lift, that lift. You know, you're done. Don't do any more that day. Come back, you know, skip a day, come back. You know, you just set out a program. And so that's finally what we got to on that. That's what those guys were helping us test out, use test.
Well, I really think the greatest thing that we kind of touched on earlier was the amount of repetitions that we're able to get. So, you know, Cole, we live in the Northeast. And so, you know, in the cold weather states, if you lack an indoor facility, you're not going to be able to get the amount of reps. And a lot of reps are done via machines. So we don't really get that, you know, that ball flight, that, you know, following the arm out of release, out of separation. And I really think that's a strong attribute of GameSense, as far as you're able to pick up that separation and that timing mechanism. And so this is really a wonderful training tool that really doesn't require a heck of a lot of supervision, if at all. And, you know, this is something, as you alluded to, which I am a big proponent of, is when you're 10 or 11, you know, if you're going to play in high school, you're going to face older, bigger, stronger pitchers. So why not utilize GameSense and kind of get some familiarity as far as the pitchers that are going to be a little bit older, throwing a little bit more unique pitches. And I think that's something that's a strength for GameSense.
Right, and they don't get to see many left-handed pitchers. So all the pitchers in GameSense are flipped. We do a video flip on them. So you've got a guy right-handed, you've got a guy left-handed. See, so especially like a left-handed hitter, they're not used to seeing left-handed curveballs. And so if you got a young hitter's coming up as a lefty, that's going to really buffalo him when he first runs into it. So okay, build that up. It's familiar. It's familiar.
And I think it's really important for parents to understand, when we talk about things such as batting practice, even a lot of games at the younger ages, Peter brings up a really great point. We don't have a lot of left-hand BP throwers. We don't see a lot of young left-handed pitchers because there's just not a lot of them. There are a lot of right-handed players, predominantly shortstops and catchers and outfielders. They jog in, they play a position, and then they pitch at the younger ages. As you get older, you begin to find those position-specific athletes that I'm a pitcher and they're left-handed. So it's really great to be able to get consistent work, to be able to see both the right-handed and the left-handed equally, because eventually the left-hand pitching gets very dominant at the older ages, because there's a lack of familiarity with these younger high school hitters. They don't see a lot of quality left-handers. So, and you know, utilizing GameSense allows equal balance of repetition and opportunity. And the question I want to ask Peter, because obviously parents are going to want to know, is this a subscription base? Is it a one-time cost? How are parents going to be able to, or student athletes directly, be able to download this for their phones or their computers?
Yeah, thank you for that. Nice setup. Fastball down the middle, right? um, okay. The nice thing about it is they can go to GameSenseSports.com. So that's the website. That's just the whole name written out, and you can sign up for 10 free drills, and they come in this journey. And the best thing about that is you don't need a credit card or anything. So you want to go ahead and put in an authentic email. Don't just put in some fake thing, because that's how you're going to go when you subscribe to it, and you get offers and that sort of thing. So you want to put that in there, but you don't need to put in a credit card. So that's one of the things that really, I hate it when you go, okay, there's something free, but you got to put in the credit card, and then if you forget to cancel it, now you're paying for it every month. So you go in there, you get 10 free drills. These are about a minute and a half. In a second here, if we can do a screen share thing, or just on my phone, I'll show you what one looks like. So it's like 10 pitches. It takes about a minute and a half per these drills. So we set it out in this journey sequence. First couple of drills are just learn the drill, just like learn the proper lift technique, just learn the drill. Then you start getting into some pitchers, and also some specialty ones, like for the high school ones and the youth ones. We really get them into reading those curveballs early. It's not so much that they can't pick up the curveball, it's just that they don't think that one that's coming out of the hand looking like it's going to go over the backstop is going to come down in the hitting zone. Or the one that comes out looking like this is going to be in the dirt, or the one that comes out looking like it's right at your front shoulder, that's that good old high school curveball that's going to sweep right over the plate. Pitcher's going to make think you a fool while you jump out of the way, but if you hang in there and give it a ride, now who's the fool?
Well,
So
that's called the sweeper now. We have a new word for that. It's called the sweeper. It's no longer a slider, a slurve, or curve. It's a sweeper.
Right. So if Tyler, when Tyler was 16 years old, if he threw one of those, you'd probably be down his neck. What are you doing, man? You gotta break that thing off.
Well, I think the great thing is, and just for point of edification here, we're going to include at the back end of the video, what the GameSense app looks like, and make sure that you kind of get it. And we'll also, in this particular description, we're going to have all of the information for GameSense and Peter and contact. We'll have some sort of a code so that you can log in and sign up for GameSense. But
Right.
For point of education, it's never too early to learn how to be a good hitter, and it's never anything that can familiarize your student athlete. Again, softball, baseball, and I know you utilize tennis. Anything with regard to learning early obviously helps later on in the process. And so I say that because Cole, who we've alluded to here in our discussion, when he first started working with me, he was a young man that had a lot of difficulty, became very frustrated with his inability to make consistent contact with a baseball. And in fact, he wasn't making a lot of the Little League All-Star teams and things of that nature. Now, over 2 years, and I would say we're close to the 18-month mark with Cole working with the GameSense and Peter with GameSense app and Peter, he now switch hits, and he hits with the broomstick every day, and he's hitting lima beans and acorns and rocks. And my point is when I asked Cole about that, he just has become very comfortable. That's his term, his word. And a lot of that has to do, Peter, with the repetitions he's easily able to take easily in the confines of whether it's his bedroom or downstairs in his basement, et cetera. And so from your perspective, is that what makes GameSense such a strong or really good baseline trainer for eyes and hitting, as far as you can do this at any time, at any place? You can be in the car while dad's driving. You can be, hopefully it's a study period at school, but you have the ability to kind of take this mobile and kind of do it anywhere you want.
right? If you have 5 minutes, you can do something to be a better hitter.
Think
Heck, if you
about
have
that.
2 minutes, you can do something to be a better hitter. When we had when we were working with the Diamondbacks, I did a debrief with some of their players, and they were required to do a certain amount. And one guy said, "Yeah, I got all my GameSense in one day, waiting for my order at In-N-Out, like standing in line." People probably think he's texting his girlfriend or something.
Well, for
He's
those
doing
of you
his
who
work.
don't know, In-N-Out is a great burger place here on the East Coast. We have not been. We don't see In-N-Out. It's over on the West Coast, but I guess it's coming our way. But yeah, I mean, you're talking Diamondbacks, Mariners, A's,
Yeah,
and one of the things that jumps out at me is if professional hitters are utilizing GameSense, it really is a wonderful, and it's affordable. I mean, if we start talking, I just looked online the other day. There are people charging $75 to $100 a half hour for hitting lessons. This is a tremendously affordable opportunity for parents to really go above and beyond the norm of just getting a bat and a ball and a tee or going out and taking a lesson. This is something that really everybody can take advantage.
yeah, that's exactly right. I want to hit a couple of those pitches you were throwing my way. That's certainly one of them. So we offer this 10 drill thing. It's in a journey, and it's like getting a free clinic. It's like if the local facility or whatever, they offered a free Thanksgiving clinic, or I mean, you're gonna get better from that. You're gonna get value from it. But of course, we hope you say, wow, I can see the value of doing this every week, week after week. That's where those reps start building up. Just like the weight room. Yeah, you can go in and have a good session. It's the every day. It's what you're doing every day, or we say even 3 days a week. You're going out there, and that's what's building up those massive reps. And then you're not thinking about it. Like all the time, I'm hearing, oh well, we don't want our hitters start thinking about this. Well, the way you don't think, the way to avoid thinking about what's the shape of the pitch, or trying to read the pitch like that, the way to not do that is by doing it a whole lot, so that now you do it without thinking about it. And there's such a huge difference between getting so good at something that it doesn't feel like thinking and not thinking. So when a coach or somebody comes out with that, we don't want to mess with this, we don't want them thinking at the plate. No, what you want them doing is thinking so well that it feels like not thinking, that they'll tell you they're not thinking. That's when we know we're getting. We don't want them up there grinding it. That's why I kind of even like the separation of, you do the pitch recognition here. That's why I was bringing up Kyle Wagner, because I don't, even at a 14, 15, we don't even want them directly in there. Just have your fun, hit the ball. In the meanwhile, back in the back garage, you're tuning this thing up. Okay. You're tuning this thing up. And finally, when that flag drops, when we really get busy, all of a sudden you're hitting the gas while others are hitting the wall. Because you've been packing that in the whole time in a very light way. So what we know is that if hitters, and this is from youth up to those high levels, if they play GameSense regularly and properly, they're going to get a benefit. Nobody's ever reported that it hurts them, it gets in the way of anything. Sometimes you've got the guy, and that was the very thing holding him back, and boom, he'll take off. Maybe that was the thing with Cole. Other times, maybe it's a strength, and they're just adding to it, or they're just adding to their bank of pitches, that familiarity we're talking about. But it's stocking in there reps, instant feedback. You got to have the instant feedback, and then progressive difficulty, right? Just like a video game. I mean, this is how we teach animals, including humans, crazy tricks, and hitting a well-pitched baseball is a crazy trick.
Well, it's the hardest thing to do in all of sports. I can guarantee that. And one of the key words that Peter has used repeatedly is play GameSense. So this is not an exercise. It's not laborious. It's not a chore. This isn't something that's going to get boring. This is playing GameSense. And to me, repetitions will always lead, positive repetitions will always lead to positive retention, which then allows student athletes to become instinctual, where they trust, they read, react. They don't think, they just simply react. So, Peter, we're going to have, and below in the description, we're going to have all of the contact information for you, your social media handle. But why don't you give all of that out here on the video, and then parents and student athletes will be able to read below and make sure they get access to you directly.
All right. Well, so the website is the first point of contact, GameSenseSports.com. The other is anybody who's listening to Walter's show. We've had this contact before. You can feel free to just email me directly, Peter.Fadde, Fadde @gmail, or Peter@GameSenseSports.com. Either one of those will come directly to me if you have a question on that. I really encourage people to go out there, get the the free app, the 10. You try it. Like I say, no credit card. You don't have to put that in there. Then after that, of course, you're prompted to subscribe. Subscribing is, as Walter noted, is not an expensive thing. If you get a yearly subscription, it's $10 a month. Through this year, we're getting a lot of pressure from various advisors and the such that we've got to kick that up, because, like you say, it's almost like people saying, "Oh, it can't be that low and be any good." He said, "No, we're trying to get it out to people, So that might kick up, but at least through the end of this year, $10 a month if you do a yearly subscription. And then that's when you start building that in. And what I was saying about, knowing that we get that benefit with playing regularly and playing properly, is that we've now built into the app the playing properly. You don't have to supervise that as a parent, or even a coach, or somebody at a facility, anybody. You don't need to take care of properly. That's built in. All you need to take care of is regularly. Just make sure, your player is playing regularly. And we call it playing a drill. Like you say, it's called play, but it's still deliberate practice. So we don't want to confuse it with like something you're playing, but you're playing to get better.
Well, I mean, that's really the point. And the thing is when we talk about, through the end of this year at $10 a month, $120 a year, in some cases, that's an hour lesson. It's less than the cost of a bat. It's one of those things that we don't necessarily think of as parents with regard to training tools, but the vision, the repetition, becoming a better hitter, it's something if you went to get, an automatic, what we used to call an iron mic, batting practice, putting quarters in a machine for baseballs, you would spend tens of thousands of dollars getting the same amount of reps that you get with GameSense. But Peter, I want to say thank you for sharing your time. I absolutely love everything about GameSense. I think it makes absolute sense for every young baseball, softball, and obviously tennis student athlete. I think this is a wonderful holiday gift, a bonus with regard to a learning opportunity. And I hope a lot of people take the time to reach out to you and learn more about GameSense.
Absolutely appreciate your support, Walter, and the parents and the players you've sent our way. Really have helped us develop it. We really take that seriously and develop what works for them. I get more from Mark and Cole than they probably got from me.
Well, we'll continue to do that, and I want to make sure everybody understands all of the contact information that you'll need for Peter and GameSense will be down below in the subscription. Send him a message. If you have a question or comment, you just want to leave it here, please feel free to do so. But Peter really makes himself available via social media, obviously email that he's given us. So I want to say happy holidays, Peter. And I don't know if you're going to be in Dallas at the ABCA, but I will be there, and I look forward to talking with you there as well.
Outstanding. Thank you very much, Walter. Appreciate it.
You're very, very welcome. And again, any questions, put them down below in the comments. Have a great holiday season, and we'll be back with more Blue Book product promotions during the course of the next few weeks. Thank you very much.